Alright guys, so this video is going to be about how to upgrade a Fender Squier, and I'm going to do another video that has to do with this guitar, talking about how Squiers are basically pawn shop currency, so look for that one. But man, I have a lot of stuff we're doing to this thing, and it's all stuff you can do at home. We're going to level the frets to get it playing well. We're going to put a new bridge on it. I'm going to put a new pickup in it, and we'll talk about that pickup in a little bit. New Fender tuners that are way better than these. New pickguard, all new pots, capacitor, all that stuff. It's all stuff you guys can do, and I'll show you step by step how to do it. As condensed as I can, because the long videos are kind of old, I'm sure. But I got this guitar at a pawn shop. It's a standard Squier, and I believe it's from 2004. And it's still got the funk on it from whoever owned it before me. I don't know if you guys can see the funk there. It's got just, you know, a cruddy bridge, the cheap Squier bridge, and it's missing a adjustment screw actually. And you know, it's just your run-of-the-mill Squier. My very first electric guitar was a red Fender Squier standard, what this is, with a maple neck, what this has, but it had a humbucker in the bridge position, so it was HSS. So HSS. This one is SSS. So you guessed it, we're changing out this pickup. I'm going to keep these two because I kind of like the way they sound. Sometimes the cheap pickup can sound good. Squiers are basically the most easy to customize entry-level guitar there is, and everything I'm going to do, you guys can do too. So come with me on this journey, and let's take a look at some of the parts. You know, I originally thought about remaking my original electric guitar that I had to sell one year, but I decided, why make it when I can just make it better? I know a lot more now than I did when I got my first electric, so why not make it better? So we're going CTS pots, 2 tones and a volume. Going with the spray orange drop caps, and really it's just for quality. Caps don't make a lot of difference in tone. I know you guys are going to flame me over that, but it's true. Shielding, because it's a Fender, so you know it's going to hum. Now these are cool. These are what's going on the headstock. These are actual Fender, I think, American standard locking tuners. They should fit the holes. I'm just going to have to drill a couple little holes for these posts for each one of these tuners. So that's cool. I'm pretty excited about these. Alright, so basically I'm using Fender parts, but from higher end Fender stuff. So this is actually a John 5 signature humbucker, and it is rated at 20K, which is pretty insane. So I'm interested to see how this sounds. That's the pickup going in this guy. This is what I'm most excited about actually. This is a Babbitt's full contact bridge. It's got 6 holes, just like the Fender tremolo, but I guarantee you I'm gonna have to re-drill these holes, because you guys out there know, anytime you have to frickin' work on a Fender and put a new bridge on it, just about every single time you gotta re-drill the holes. Maybe it'll fit, I doubt it, but this is a badass bridge. And rather than the boring old white pickguard, I got a white perloid pickguard, which you see on a lot of the American made Fenders. I don't know if that's showing up, but I think it's cool. So we're going to put those Squier pickups back in here and here, and the John 5 will be, you know, all up in there like that. First thing I'm going to do though, level the frets. Oh my god, you guys. Okay, so I realized something about this bridge. It's a freaking knife edge 2-point. It's not the 6. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Truth, I actually ordered that Babbitt's bridge before I ever got this guitar, because I knew that was the bridge I wanted to put on there. And for some reason I did not realize a Fender standard from 2004, a Squier standard, had the knife edge pivot. I thought it had the 6-hole. Oh well. Continuing on. Alright, so here we have our neck, and this is it's a notch straight edge. And so we have our Gibson scale on the bottom here, and our Fender scale on the top. So we'll use the 25/5 side. And what I'm looking for is, does this lie flat on my fretboard? If it does, pretty much all the way across, we know that we're good. It looks like we actually need to put a little bit of back bow in it. So that's what I'm going to do now. Little tiny crank of the truss rod. See where we're at now. And it's good to look at this from different angles. That almost did it. Little tiny crank of the truss rod. A little bit less than a quarter turn each time. Alright, there it is. So now the board is level, and we're going to get ready to level these frets. I am changing this out for a tusk nut. If you know what tusk is, it's basically a self-lubricating nut. Haha, funny. But it keeps the strings sliding through a little bit easier, so I'm hoping that combined with the locking tuners and the bridge will help the whammy tuning stability be there. So we'll be able to do surf style whammies and stuff without it going out of tune like crazy. So it's a Fender, usually no glue, slide them right out. Real simple. Alright, so I'm marking each fret, and these frets are pretty worn, so leveling them is the right way to go, other than replacing them. So I'm marking each fret so I can see where the high and low spots are with my leveling beam. Alright, so this is my leveling beam, and you've seen this in other videos by Fret Guru. Not endorsed by these guys, but they make good stuff. The cool thing about Fender necks, they're flat on the back of the headstock and flat on the back of the neck, at least, you know, in bolt-on models like this, which is 90% of Fender. So it lays pretty flat and stays pretty stable. Now I did put this towel under it and I bunched it up so it's got support all the way down, because you don't want it flexing very much, but it's pretty stable how it is. And also, taking the nut out makes it a lot easier to run this beam evenly over the whole neck. And normally I tape off my neck, especially if it's a customer's guitar or something, I tape off the neck, but I'm out of tape. So this is my guitar, so I'm just going to have to be very careful, so bear with me. So I like to pick a direction and just go that direction. Okay, so you can see that we have gotten rid of pretty much all the divots that were in these frets, and they're all nice and level. There's a couple that were just barely kissed by the sandpaper, and that's fine, because once they're all rounded over, they should all look uniform. And they should play much better too. The theory is behind leveling frets, if you set your truss rod to where they're dead even, and then you level them, and you put your strings on, and your strings pull a bow into the neck, you'll then be able to tighten your truss rod and bring it back to dead even, and you should be able to get really, really good action. That's the theory behind it. You can also ramp it down a little bit at the end, which I normally do on my fretboards, so that where it meets the body on the bolt-on and the frets may get slightly pushed up, you're kind of compensating for that, and it makes it just more comfortable to play. Alright, so the next step is using my crowning file and my little fret file here, which you can see has a nice soft edge on one side so that it doesn't damage the fretboard. We're going to get these frets back crowned again, nice and round. Okay, so I'm sure it's hard to tell, but the frets are nice and hemispherical now. We're going to have to polish them up and really do some work on them to get rid of the skitter marks from the files. I am going to go on a couple of these and use my fine fret file here to sort of round over some of these edges where the flat part came down a little bit, just for my own personal comfort and choice. So I'm going to do that and then get to the next part. Also, if you guys ever want to have like a full-on fret leveling and dressing tutorial, then we can do that. I just know it's done on so many YouTubers' pages, I don't see much of a benefit, but if you want to see how I do it, I'd be down. Just let me know in the comments. Okay, so I finished up the crowning and the fret dressing. Went ahead and polished them up. Came out pretty well. A little bit flatter than I like it, but I did have to take off a decent amount to get rid of all the divots. It came out looking good. This is the tusk nut. I have applied it already. I put it into the nut slot, see if everything fits. It's a good, really, really tight fit, but I'm going to have to take it back out and shave a little bit down because I can already tell it's too high. I won't really know how high though until we put the strings on, so I'll do that a little bit later. Alright, well, proprietary ass Fender. They don't like you putting Stratocaster parts on your Squier, so everything has to be a little bit off. So of course, our little pieces that go in here are about 1 millimeter wider, a little farther out than the holes for the Squier ones. Also, somewhere have some little roller string trees too. I forgot to put those on because I don't know where the hell they are right now. Good times. Alright, so if you've ever played a Fender very long, you know that when you palm mute, sometimes you'll hear the springs vibrating. So I kind of rigged up this little apparatus to stretch the springs so that I can spray paint them with this plasti dip here. And this is white. And what it will do with them spread is wrap around the coils to help keep it from vibrating and making that noise. I also have them elevated off the board a little bit so I can get a little bit of this stuff behind them.
Dip my balls.
That's going in the video. Alright guys, so I forgot to film this part, but basically, remember I had the 2 posts, filled those in with some oak rods, and then lined this up to make sure, that's what this tape was marking, make sure that the saddles cross at the same spot as the old saddle, and then this thing now goes on and fits just fine. So we'll be able to use that bridge after all. Alright guys, to make the transition from old pickguard and electronics to new pickguard and new electronics as easy as possible, the first thing we're going to do is just get rid of this pickguard. We're going to get it out of the way. And then we're going to get rid of this pickup and basically piecemeal everything back in. So the first thing we have to do is take everything out of the pickguard. There we go. Everything's out of the pickguard. You're going to want to save these screws for the next step. The next step, of course, is putting everything into this pickguard. So to keep things as simple as possible, if you're doing this at home, follow your wiring. So stick with, that's what's great about Fenders, they're so modular. Just follow the wires that you already have here, go wire by wire onto your new potentiometers. You can see the quality difference. These are original CTS and these are whatever China had at the time. So I'm going to go and I'm going to follow this wiring, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to tin on my leads first. So here we are, guys, our newly updated Fender Squier. Had to cut the nut pretty deep to get it to everything to play right, so I will go back and shave off the top of the nut later. But very clean, frets are nicely polished. That Perloid pickguard, John 5 pickup, badass Babbitt's bridge. I'm going to do a video about this because it was a breeze to intonate and set up the action. This bridge is well designed. I had these knobs from a different project left over, and I remembered my first electric guitar had black knobs. These are the only black ones I had, so they got a weird design on them, but that's kind of neat too. Probably gonna get a black tip for that because the yellow just looks weird to me. But yeah, came out nice, you know, for a used Squier. It's pretty shiny. It's been polished up. The leveled frets, man, this thing plays like a breeze. I am super happy with it, and this will probably end up being one of my main guitars. So this just shows you that even a crappy old Squier can be made to be a pretty badass guitar with a little bit of elbow grease, my favorite thing to say. But you guys can do all this stuff at home and get some pretty good results. So thanks everybody for watching, and hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. I'm sure we're going to do plenty more mod videos down the road because it's just a lot of fun to do. It took me about really a day's work, but I spread it over 2 days. So you can do it at home. And yeah, enjoy guys, and I will see you next time. Thanks.